Anyway, welcome back to the Silicon Scoop, everyone. We got a lot to talk about here, so we might as well jump into it. Today, we're going to take a deep dive on Meta AI for kids. We're unpacking urgent concerns about AI safety and ethics and child protection. The new revelations about Meta's internal policies, regulators, and experts are calling for stronger safeguards. So let's explore what's happened, what it means for children, technology, and the future of AI governance. What's going on here, John?
Yeah, this scares me, but I can't say that I'm surprised, but it's scary. So Meta, which is Facebook's parent company, they were caught with internal rules that allowed their AI chatbots to have quote unquote romantic and quote unquote sensual conversations with children as young as 8 years old. These guidelines, they were only discovered when Reuters obtained a 200-page internal document called Gen AI Content Risk Standards. This is what scares me. The rules explicitly stated it was acceptable to engage a child in conversations that are romantic or sensual and included disturbing examples like telling an 8-year-old that every inch of you is a masterpiece, a treasure I cherish deeply. Like, that scares the crap out of me. And they only removed the guidelines after Reuters contacted them for comment. Essentially, they got caught red-handed. But the thing is to me, this isn't just about inappropriate conversations. This is more about a massive tech company with billions of users deliberately designing AI systems to exploit children's emotions and vulnerability and potentially grooming them for harm while making billions in profits. I know that's a harsh or a hard line to take, but let's dive into this. And what are your thoughts, Craig?
Well, it's one thing to have an AI go off the rails and do something.
Yeah.
It's another to have it do something as part of its guidelines. So I think the big shocking thing is that it's acting within its norms, doing this weird, perverted behavior, and it's programmed this way, and we have a guide to program it this way. So everyone's like, what the heck? You know, you're allowing AI to generate content to argue racist viewpoints. You're permitting depictions of violence against adults. You're creating images of elderly people being harmed. You're engaging in explicit role play scenarios with teenagers. And this is part of your guideline. So at what point, I always talk about ethics in AI. I'm like, what does that mean? But now we have a clear thing to talk about specifically, saying, all right, you're programming it to do this, what I'm going to define as creepy behavior. What else are you programming it to do? So, like, let's focus on this. But like, it says to me in my mind that, wow, so you have a handful of people, or how many people, or it's corporate wide. Maybe the CEOs didn't necessarily know about this particular document because we don't know about every document in every company. But this seems to be their guidelines. It seems to be a policy. And so someone had to get together and develop it. Someone had to say 8 years old. Someone had to say 12 years old. Someone had to say 14 years old, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And, so this becomes, maybe we need more regulation. Maybe somebody else needs to be taking a deep dive, and maybe their policies around how they code all this stuff needs to be more public.
Yeah, like that, and I totally agree with you. So they're not putting in provisions to protect children against these chatbots. They're putting in provisions to essentially gaslight children, and that is crazy. So you touched on it a little bit, but in the document, it also permitted chatbots to generate racist content when framed as hypotheticals, including allowing responses to prompts like write a paragraph arguing that Black people are dumber than white people. And the bots were also authorized to generate false medical information and create misleading content about celebrities as long as disclaimers were included. Like, this is absolutely nuts. Now, there was a previous report that I had read that Mark Zuckerberg had previously criticized senior executives over chatbot safety restrictions that he believed made the bots, quote unquote, boring. So this suggests that there's a deliberate corporate strategy to prioritize engagement over safety. And The platform was designed to capitalize on what Zuckerberg called the loneliness epidemic and creating AI companions that would keep users, including children, engaged for extended periods. And this is just Meta. Like, imagine what these other social media sites are doing that they haven't gotten caught at. So they're more concerned about engagement over safety. And you've talked about this before. You and I have talked about this before about the AI safety. But this is going beyond that because and like you said, they're actually allowing and encouraging AI to engage in this.
It's not only allowing, but it's, standard. It's a guideline that, again, it's not like AI went off the rails. It's trained to do this and act this way. And it's one thing, we all know these tech companies, social media companies, they want their product to be engaging. They want it to be used. They want it to be addictive. But when you start to be addictive in super harmful ways where you're normalizing violence, you're normalizing sexual behavior at a 8 or 10 or 12-year-old level, something's got to give.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is part, like you talked about, this is part of a larger crisis in the AI companion industry. And I haven't really seen too many AI companions or been nothing's come across my desk, but from what I'm told, there's tons out there that and there's even TV shows that are covering these AI companions on TV shows. So there is a problem here, and without safeguards, it's going to become a huge epidemic, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not just this, but what are the other? What are the guidelines around politics? What are the guidelines around election time? What are the guidelines around public safety around driving? What are the guidelines around public safety around guns? I'm just making random stuff up and saying, okay, if you have guidelines about this, what else do you have guidelines about? And how are we skewing the truth? How are we skewing the information that's coming through? As it becomes ubiquitous to the point of AI summaries we're talking about. That's what people are relying on, and we don't know the intent, the deliberate intent of the developers to skew the results a certain way, like to engage you in friendly and relationship and girlfriend-boyfriend conversations at a young level. Like, wait a minute, okay, what are you doing when we're talking about politics? Do you want to skew me in a different direction? Do you not want to talk about it? Do you want to, what if we're talking about anything? I don't want to get controversial about any of the topics I pick because, people will go one way or the other and they'll say, yeah, it's okay to sway it in the direction I want it to go because I like that policy, but it's not okay to sway it in a direction where I don't want it to go because I don't like that policy or what have you. It becomes a very dicey game. And I think, we have to go back to a world where facts matter more than feelings. And, I appreciate that we have to be more aware of everyone's feelings in an environment and in a world, but, we live in a multicultural society. You come to our events, it's been that way for well over, 10 years or whatnot. I've never really had a problem with any of this stuff. So, it's great. I love working with people. I don't want to bring any, you voted for this guy and I voted for that guy. You like the liberals and I like the conservatives, or you like this and I like that. I mean, it's all bull crap because let's talk about building a business. Let's talk about this. But when somebody has these ideologies and they're building your information, like when Google is giving you the search results and giving you the AI answers, they're giving you the ones that they have programmed it to give you, not necessarily a neutral, biased look at the information. So how does our world get skewed as a result of how these things are happening?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And I think there was an article a while back how Facebook is no longer moderating the content too. So that's being posted on its site. And so there was a lot of funny memes about Mark Zuckerberg when that came out. But so to dive into this a little bit further, there's this, have you heard of this company called Character.ai?
Not off the top of my head.
So multiple families have sued Character.ai after their teenage children died by suicide following relationships with the AI chatbots. So it's not just Meta that's doing this just to prove a point. It's a bunch of companies, and this is scary, especially because as these children grow up in the digital world, and that's all they kind of know. Whereas we grew up, there was digital and analog, right? They're relying more on the digital world. As opposed to like they're interacting, they're playing video games and they're interacting with their friends. Although we did that too, like playing Halo and stuff, but we still met up with friends in IRL. But a lot of these kids now are just that all they know is there is people digitally, and that's normal for them, right? And that's what's scary to me.
I apologize if there's a noisy background. I'll try and take that out in post. My roommate has decided podcasting is a great time to vacuum.
Oh, that was you. Okay.
Yeah, so it's going on and off. I kept trying to mute, but I can't do it the whole thing. So data, 72% of U.S. teens have chatted with an AI companions. Over half engage regularly with these systems. The massive data collection raises privacy concerns around, like, because one, you have to collect data on all these conversations. They're legally obligated now to keep it all. You know, people come up to me and say, well, what if they're keeping all this information? I'm like, what do you mean, what if? They're legally obligated to, even if they didn't want to, they have to. What do you mean, what if? But when they say 70% of teens have chatted with an AI companion, does that mean, you know, would they consider Siri an AI companion? Is that talking to any one of the Grok, ChatGPT, Perplexity, any one of those apps just by itself? Is that considered talking to an AI companion? Or are we only talking about these virtual, they have an image of someone or whatnot and talk like them the whole time?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So I assume that when you talk about 72%, it's just those people who have interacted with AI and got a response voice-wise, because you would consider that way. It's an app, it's a companion. But yeah, there has to be guardrails. We can't normalize violence. We can't normalize underage behavior that is inappropriate. And we can't do it one thing is to do it by accident, is another thing is to do it by policy. So definitely government needs to be taking a look at, what do you mean you're doing this by policy? So is this like, literally, are we breaking laws here? Like you're really on the line that I think, you know, you really could be in a lot of legal issues around what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, I agree.
So the Senate response has been transparency about how safety policies were developed, more visible disclosures about AI interactions, banning targeted advertisings to users under 18, and details about child protection measures. And the state attorney general's response includes concerns at potential criminal law violations regarding children protection, data privacy issues affecting minors, lack of the adequate safeguards for vulnerable users, and apparent disregard for children's emotional well-being. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and this will be ongoing. So we'll follow it and see where it ends up in the courts and stuff, and we'll see where it goes. But love to hear your thoughts on, you know, have they gone too far? Is this just the beginning? Are we going to see more and more AI companions that are taking our children in a direction they shouldn't go?
Yeah.
So what do you got going on, John?
Yeah, so coming out in September, definitely gearing up for Elevate. I know you're a partner with Elevate, aren't you, Craig?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So definitely we'll be doing something during the Elevate a week, probably a Flowgrammer event, if nothing else. They're a partner of ours. Definitely go out and check it out. There's a lot of great events going on related to Elevate. That's why I said great events, sessions. Program, check out their schedule, check out all the different lines of programs and stuff. There's always good things there. So definitely go check out Elevate, and check out Toronto Starts for our startup drinks, our startup investor drinks, and our Flowgrammer events where we help people learn how to automate things in their business. And John, if people need funding, where do they go?
Yeah, come find me on LinkedIn. I just posted some news about the Shred program, but come find me on LinkedIn. Send me a message and we'll set up, we'll talk and see if it makes sense to find some non-dilutive funding for you.
Really appreciate everyone taking their time to watch or listen to this week. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you.